Good morning, everybody. I am hoping to do a walk between Boston and Kings Lynn over the next 3 days. So I'll be out for 3 days and 3 nights, and I'd just like to show you what kit I've got and see how it goes with that. First of all, I'll start off. I've got this Osprey Stratos 50 litre Bergen, which is quite a good Bergen. I like it. There's two sizes. There's a small to medium and a medium to large. The medium to large is 2 inches longer on the top than the small to medium. So I'll start with the top. I'll tell you what I've got in there, and then I'll go through the rucksack. Okay, so with this pouch here at the back, which is quite big, what I've got in here is I've got a few waste bags for rubbish which I'm going to take back with me. I have got just some little things to go in my eyes so I can sleep better at night time. I've got this little hat, little 4-class hat. I like it. It fits well. You can scrunch it up like this and it'll always regain its shape, which is good. I've also got a couple of needles because I've got diabetes, so I've got to take these regardless of what. And here again I've got a little hat, Sports Direct, nice and light. I'm on the coast, walking on the coast. I'm expecting a coastal breeze to be there most of the time, so I reckon if I put that on at night time it should keep me nice and warm. I've got some insect repellent, a little tub of that. In here I've got a pair of sunglasses. The forecast is fairly good. It's going to be sunny spells, possibly a shower or two, so I might need them at some stage. In here I've got my little shovel. Around the handle I've put some tape, and I've also got a spare lace like this. I've wrapped it round with my loo roll here. That's for my morning 10 o'clock. And we've also got some sun cream spray and a little towel to dry my tent in the mornings. Now, also inside this top bit, it's another quite a big pocket. I'll show you what's in here. I have got my charger pack, so I can recharge my phone, and my DJI pocket, which I'm recording this with. It's quite heavy. It's more heavy than I expected, but it'll have to do. Here I've got some sugar sweets in case I need them myself. I've got a little key ring which I'm going to leave somewhere, and hopefully somebody will find it. Nice little key ring. I've got my little titanium spoon for my breakfast and dinner, and I've got this little box here which I made up. It's from a Chinese takeaway. It's quite rigid. I've got my card in here, and I've got some money. I've got my compass. I never go anywhere without a compass. I've got the OS maps on my mobile phone, but you know, I always have one of these. That's my opinion anyway. Some eye drops in case I need them. I've got some extra Vaseline which I've decanted into a small plastic container. And I've got this stuff. It's called bum butter. My brother swears by it. He does a lot of mountain biking. He reckons this is the stuff to have, so I'll give it a go. I've got a knife. Little knife. It's got a few things on there. It's got like your normal knife, screwdriver, a pair of scissors. I've got some talcum powder for my feet, decanted again. I've got various tablets, paracetamol, other bits and bobs. I've got these two little things that I got off Fleabay. You can put them over your toes if your toes start chaffing. They're really, really good. I've got 2 little ear defenders in there because I'm expecting a lot of birds to be tweeting at silly o'clock in the morning. Toothpaste is in here, enough for 3 days. Toothbrush. I've got some needles, spare needles for my syringes, spare insulin, and a couple of bits and bobs of Elastoplast, stuff like that. That is that. Round to the front of my bag in there, I've got a couple of straps to undo first. I've got my jacket in here because at night time when it gets cold, or if it does get cold, I've got this jacket. It's a synthetic one. I didn't know how to be honest. I found it in the loft about a month ago at some Next. I don't know. But it fits me, it's nice and warm, so right, job done. Map. Always take a map with my compass as a backup. Here's my cooking system. It's quite compact. I've got the little Tux 500 or 750ml titanium cup. I've got a little cup in here which folds up, plastic cup. Lighter. I've got the little BRS cooker which clips onto my gas bottle. Here's some tea bags. Here's the gas bottle which fits in here nicely. The rest just clips into that. It's small and compact. Here I've got my food, and I've got lots of it. I've got about 2 kilo of food, even though I'm only going out for 3 days. I think it's a bit of an overkill, but I'm a greedy sod, so I'll probably eat it all. I've got things in here like, it's mainly dried food, from Adventure Food. I've made a couple of pot noodles myself. I've decanted them into plastic containers for lunch. I'll take these containers back with me and clean them. I've just basically got a lot of cereal bars, a lot of some peanuts, a Lucky Dip, lots of these kind of bars, loads of them. Okay, I've got a little towel, and I've got a little plate here for my hygiene. I have got a waterproof jacket. And I've got a little pillow here, a little from 4 Class. I got it from Decathlon. I'll show it to you in another video, and it's about this big. It fits inside the head of my sleeping bag, and it's just really comfortable. I've not skimped. I always skimp on some stuff, but I've not skimped on this sort of stuff. I've not skimped on my sleeping bag, my sleeping mat, or my tent. Sleeping bag is an Alp Kit 400. In the UK, you can use it for spring, summer and autumn, but I wouldn't recommend it in the winter. Nice and lightweight. Here is my sleeping mat. It's a Nemo Tensor. It cost a couple of quid. Fairly lightweight, it's compact, and it's supposed to be really good, so I'm going to give it a go. In the TARDIS, still we're going. I've got a spare tracksuit, a couple of tops in here, and I've got some socks and underwear for each day in this bag here. Now that's this empty. Up to the back here, I've got a little 4 Class mat which just rolls out. When I sit down, you can sit in it. It stops your bottom getting wet, your knees getting wet, and it's really lightweight, so why not? In the bottom compartment of this rucksack, I'm just going to keep my tent. Here's my ground sheet and my pegs, and here's the tent. It's a Lanshan one, and it's lightweight, it's small. Yeah, it's a nice little tent. I'm also taking a couple of these walking sticks. I've never used them before, but they're supposed to be really good when you're walking long distance. I'll be doing probably about 50 mile. One of these I need with the Lanshan one tent to erect the tent properly, but again, you'll probably see it afterwards. Going on to this rucksack, it is an Osprey Stratos 50 litre. Nice little sack, quite a few compartments. You know, I keep my warm jacket in here, another zip here, 2 litres of water, one on each side. These are quite flexible, so easy to get to. You can access to your water from this side or that side if you wanted to. I like the fact with this, it's got really wide sort of hip belt, which is comfortable. Also, shoulder belt as well is really wide. Nothing worse than something digging into your shoulders all the time. But I think these take the weight nicely, and because of these wide hip belts, some of the weight goes into hips as well. So I do like it. We've got access, if you wanted to, from the side this way. You can access into your sack this way if you wanted to. Any particular reason? It's fairly lightweight. It's not the lightest, not the lightest of rucksacks. Lots of little pockets on it. It's got a little chest strap here as well. You can reason for this is you clamp it together and it holds these two straps in, which I like because normally your straps start slipping off sometimes and it can be kind of a pest. They can be adjusted up or down like this, depending on the height of your chest. Also the rucksack, you can make it like longer and shorter. I don't know if you can see here, you put these two little white lines, 1, 2, there's 4 of these. With the Velcro in here, you can take it apart and adjust it up or down, depending on whether you're taller or shorter. But at mark number 2, it suits for me. Nice little addition to this, on the actual handle for the chest things, little whistle, which I liked. Yeah. My total weight for the gear is 10.7 kilo. Bear in mind, 2 of that is food and 2 of that is water. So yeah, it's not bad. I'm looking forward to it, and hopefully you'll see how I get on. Right, time to put all this back in, and I'll catch you all later. Just going to have a little look at St. Botolph's Church, which just dominates the skyline here in Boston. This is the entrance to St. Botolph's Church. The actual church itself was finished in 1510, and I think it took about 85 years to build, and it's known to the locals as, yes, the Stump. Quite an impressive building. It can also be seen across the wash from Norfolk on a good day.
But we can't go catch shellfish.
So you're saying you own these 2 boats?
Yeah.
But at the moment you can't. Is it
There's
worth?
nothing for us to do by the bylaws, the new laws,
Yeah.
and the Brexit. It just buggered us up altogether.
Yeah.
We're not allowed to catch bass, which is out there. I mean, we're not allowed to catch any fish. We've all got shellfish licences. We used to do, but now they've took that off us. We're
Yeah.
not allowed to go catch fish at all.
Is there plenty of fish out there still?
Yeah, plenty of bass and that. And
Yeah.
same with sprats and herrings. We weren't allowed to catch them, like we always used to do.
I'm-
Took our licences off us.
I'm guessing some of these lads have got families to feed as well.
Oh, they can't live, mate.
Yeah.
They're all gone and getting jobs of loading lorries and whatever they can do.
Yeah. Oh well, changing times, I suppose.
It gets worse. All we're run by now is retired policemen.
Yeah.
They rule us. And what do they know about fishing? Nothing.
No.
And they make the rules.
Well, hopefully.
It costs us £1,100 to go fetch a few cockles.
Oh
For a
goodness.
licence for each boat.
Yeah.
Where it used to be nothing.
Yeah.
And if we go catch the mussel, that's another price we've got to pay. We've got to pay for everything we catch, we've got to pay for.
Well, I hope for you and your families that something breaks and it goes back to normal again. You'll be able to get back out.
We've got the television coming down, do 2-day television on it, or how bad it is on the June the 2nd. They're coming down to us.
Did you say you've been laid up for nearly 6 months now?
6 months these boats been tied up.
Oh god, yeah. What's the point in that, huh?
I mean, it cost a fortune to run and keep up.
Yeah.
But four went up to £1.10 a litre when we couldn't afford that red diesel. We couldn't afford to go even. So we bond 300 or 400 litres a day.
Yeah.
It's down to 70 pence now. It's a lot better, a bit better now. But we're waiting for them to open the shellfish so we can go, but they won't open them.
Well, I'll be off, so I hope things change for you, buddy. We've just come from Boston. Boston's about 3 miles back that way. Walked up next to the river Haven. The river Haven goes all the way out here for about another mile, right down there, and it splits into the wash where it joins onto the River Welland. And the River Welland then heads down south into the wash. We're sort of leaving sort of the dry land now and heading into the marshes. These marshes here, when the tide's high, they get filled right up with the tide. I'm sat in Frampton Nature Reserve now. I mean, look at all these birds. It seems to be mostly waders around here. All the ones that are in front of us here, you can just see the small white ones. They are pied avoses. Lovely little birds. Curved beak. I think the ducks and the divers are probably on the far end of the reserve where it's a bit deeper. Here we have some of the local wildlife. They're all very nosy. I think they want some of my lunch. It's about just gone 7 in the evening. The tide's out. You can see the cows out there. They go out there quite regular to feed. And when the tide comes in, they make their way back home automatically. Nice and peaceful area. Not seen anybody for miles. That's a sea bank all the way along there. Recap of today. I got into Boston in the train about 2:30. Had a little nosy around the town. Yeah, fairly nice town. Lots and lots of Europeans there, but hey ho, that's how it is. And I've just made myself a little bit of din-dins. Let that brew for a few minutes, and then I'm going to tidy up and go to my scratcher. That's my little tent there. So, all going well. I'll have a good night's sleep. I'll be right as rain for tomorrow. Night night. Good morning, everybody. It's now just gone 7 in the morning. My plan this morning is to walk for about 4 miles, have a bit of breakfast, and then carry on. There's a little cafe in a place called Fosdyke, which I think is open, and I'm going to go in there, spoil myself, and then crack on for the rest of the day. This is Fosdyke here. This is the River Welland. It starts off in Northamptonshire, about 65 miles away. Comes through lots of little villages like Spalding, all the way through here onto the wash. The actual bridge is just about 200 metres down there. I've just stopped at this little place called the Mooring for breakfast. I've passed it umpteen times. It's nothing more than a bungalow with a cafe in it, but it's actually quite lovely. Nice breakfast, good price, chap in there was quite pleasant. Yeah, I'd recommend a visit. There's lots of nice little sort of winding rivers and dikes and wetlands for birds to nest around here. As you can see here, you can see where the current seawall is, straight in front of you, and to the right here you can see what's most likely the old seawall. The first people who tried to stop the tide coming into the wash and the flooding were the Romans. They did it something like 1400 years ago. They managed it for quite a while, and then when they left, it went into sort of disrepair for a while. There's been quite a few attempts all around the wash to get it sorted, 3 or 4 attempts. The last sort of major work being around 1970, where they claimed quite a lot of land back and it's now being used for farming land. You can see the original wall quite a bit inland in some places, like this wall here. The locals did object at certain times because a few people, mainly hunters, used to go out onto the salt marsh and the estuaries and hunt, and that's how they fed their families, and there was actually some riots at some stage. However, they lost their little argument, and now we have the walls, and it's good because, as you know, Lincolnshire provides a lot of the fruit and veg for the country, so it's all the better for us. I'm just making myself a spot of lunch here. I've just got a pot noodle that I've put in a bag. I have a cup of tea. I've taken some sort of apple flavoured tea bags. I just think it might be quite nice to have a bit of something refreshing. My sleeping bag got a little bit, I wouldn't say damp last night, but moist, so I'm drying it out. But there's a lovely little place here to stop, have a spot of lunch. Looks like I'm man-spreading a bit, but there's nobody else around, so I think I can live with that. When you're walking along here, you'll see all these little buildings. They're actually pumping stations. There's something like 200 of them, just over 200 all along this coast, and they're managed by 12 different companies. What will happen if the water gets too high on the land side of the sea defence, it'll start pumping the water out automatically back through the seawall and out into the marsh there. Farmer there, busy putting some substance on his field. Got a couple of old armoured vehicles in there. I'm assuming that's what they put out on the ranges for the targets. Just pop my head over the brow. You'll see in the distance there a couple of buildings and bits and bobs. I'm guessing they put vehicles out there too. As you come over from Fosdyke to Sutton Bridge on the RAF range, you come across this rather large building. Something to do with range control, I expect. So what I'm going to do, I've got a little thing in my bag, a little keyring I'm going to leave under this drain pipe in front of me. It says, Army, be the best. Just to remind those RAF chaps how things are. Just going to pop it under here. Just like that. It's the third week in May at the moment, and I can still hear some black-bellied Brent geese cronking out there, feeding on the water's edge. Normally they head off back up to the Arctic. They're normally up there sort of beginning of June when they start nesting. They've got something like a 2-month period to bring up their goslings, and then after that it's too cold for them. They generally have they have different years. They have a good year, a medium year and a bad year. And it all depends on the lemmings. The lemmings feed on lichen, and if there's lots and lots of lemmings and they have a good year, they'll eat all the lichen and they'll do extremely well, which will mean that the predators like the fox, they will also do well out of the lemmings. And the following year, when there's more foxes around, the foxes will then eat all the lemmings, and when the lemmings are gone, they will go for the goslings, obviously resulting in a bad year for the Brent geese. They're here most year, they fly around, they don't conform to your average goose who flies around in a skein. They fly in just little lumps and disorganised chaos, cronking around the place. They're not much bigger than your average mallard duck. But yeah, they're quite prominent here in the marsh. The marsh is, at certain times, there can be up to 400,000 birds all over here, and throughout the year you can have 2 million birds stopping here to feed in the estuaries as they're migrating. So it's quite a busy place. If you're a bit of a bird twitcher, then it's probably for you. Looks like somebody's got this old windmill or whatever and turned it into a nice little house for themselves. Very nice indeed. So this is my setup for tonight. I've managed to find myself on the edge of a little field just outside Sutton Bridge. So there's my Lanshan one. I've had to improvise with a bit of a stick because I'm missing a peg. Bit of a branch there. However, there we go. A little nosy inside. Got my sleep mat there on the ground, my sleeping bag, and my little pillow in there. Should be enough space for me tonight. Now I'll have something to eat and hit the sack. Morning all. It's a bit of a rainy one this morning. Hopefully doing about 14 miles today. I did 18 yesterday. I'll do a couple tomorrow morning and I'll finish off tomorrow. I'll go for another hour or so, have a bit of breakfast and then crack on again. See you. Just having a bit of breakfast in a place called Pippa's Pantry in Sutton Bridge. It's all very pink themed, but hey, I can live with that. This is Sutton Bridge. Looks like it's just had a nice lick of paint. This is the River Nene, flowing under Sutton Bridge there. It rises in 3 different sources in Northamptonshire, flows all the way up here. There's quite a strong flow to it. I don't know whether you can see that or not. I'll be walking up alongside the river, a couple of miles up towards the estuary up here, and then I'll be turning right and heading over towards King's Lynn. What we have here is Lincoln Red suckler cows. You can see the fence just put up. What the farmer does, comes along, puts the fence up, and basically makes a little segment off every time. When the cows eat all the grass, it'll grow 70% more for next year, which is all the better for the cows. These cows are called pasture for life cows, which means the way this farmer is doing it, there's no cobs, no sort of hay, no artificial feeds that they get. As you can see down there, it's a lady farmer. She's just segmenting off another bit. And well done to her. I think this thing's faster than me this morning. Some of this journey can be a little bit monotonous. I've just look in front of you there, there's probably a straight there of about a mile. Came along here, and in front of me is probably another mile of sort of straight stuff. But I don't mind, at least I'm not working in an office. It's been pretty much raining all morning. I've just come from that direction. I've come across a bush in the middle of nowhere, and I'm going to make a nest under there and have a bit of lunch and then carry on. I'll just show you what I'm having for lunch. Well, I've got my little fire on there, and I've got my trusty pot noodle. I'll be following that up with a cup of tea, a biscuit, and a bit of carrot cake I picked up this morning. So effectively I'm kind of spoiling myself. I'll be here for an hour or so, and then I'll head off towards King's Lynn. I'll just go back a bit and show you the bush. There's that. Nothing that way. And there's said bush. And nothing that way either. It's my last night tonight, last of 3 nights. I've made myself a little nest here again, just outside King's Lynn. It should take me about maybe an hour tomorrow morning to go down there over the bridge and into King's Lynn. My daughter's coming to get me tomorrow, so I have to be punctual, otherwise I will be in trouble. What I've got for dinner tonight is I boiled one of these adventure hot pots. It's the mince beef hot pot. I had the pasta last night, which is quite nice, and I had the curry with rice the other night. I thought that was quite dry, to be honest. I've just got my usual fruit tea and the little bowl behind. I suppose I'd best give myself some sort of ship wash tonight, as I'm going to integrate back into society tomorrow, and I don't want to be the smelly one. So I will catch you all in the morning from a sunny King's Lynn. Good morning all, that's me now, packed up for the last morning. I'm going to head into King's Lynn. It should take me about an hour, I suppose. King's Lynn has a population of about 48,000. The main feature is the Great Ouse, which is a big river flowing through it. It can be about 200 metres wide in certain places. Still a bit of industry here. There's a little bit of a port behind me there. I don't know if you'll be able to see it. Yeah, lovely morning, so I'll catch you in a bit. There's a little ferry on the other side of King's Lynn, a little place called West Lynn. It takes you over every half hour or so. It's taken to the far bank over there. It's got a little sort of waiting room with quite a bit of information in it. All sorts of bits and bobs. Tells you the history of it. History of King's Lynn, all that sort of stuff. This little thing here was built to remember the links the town had with Norway many years ago. King's Lynn used to be a part of the Hanseatic League, which was some coastal towns, mainly in northern Europe, who traded quite a lot. King's Lynn itself was the most important seaport in Britain in the 14th century. Nice little piece of architecture. Looks like some setup for the world's strongest man competition. All them chains. This is St Nicholas Church in King's Lynn. Another lovely building. As I was walking past, taking a little picture of St Nicholas Parish Church, the curator came along and he asked if I wanted to have a look inside. So I jumped at the opportunity. I do like these old church buildings. I've always said when I was younger, when I grow a lot older than I am now, I'm just going to travel around the country and look at all these churches. I just think the architecture is amazing. They started to build this church in the 13th century, and it was finished in 1410. But there was a church on the actual building, on the actual foundation, many years before. Above each window, there's a little wooden angel. They're known to be the oldest angels in the country. Well, that's pretty much me done now in King's Lynn. In 1189, the Jewish community was massacred here for some particular reason, so it hasn't got the most amazing of history. In 1709, a 7-year-old called Michael Hammond and his 11-year-old sister Anne, they were convicted of stealing a loaf of bread, and they both got hung in a public place. So, but on looking on the bright side, King's Lynn did get voted the happiest town to live in 2016. So, thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you again.